Hello, this is Nightline and I'm Nakia Basharudin. News making the headlines. Prime Minister tells ministers to prioritise people's needs. And Malaysia bars travellers from Italy, Iran and South Korea following COVID-19 outbreak. Prioritise the people's needs. This was the Prime Minister's directive to members of his cabinet in his first meeting with them on Wednesday. Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said this is to show that the government will not waste time in addressing the people's needs. At his media conference after chairing the cabinet meeting in Putrajaya, the Prime Minister said one of the decisions reached at the meeting is to address the economic woes currently faced by the country. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said for this, the government will set up the Economic Action Council, EAC. The Prime Minister said the council would be chaired by him and comprise of Finance Minister Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, International Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department in Economy Datuk Sri Mustafa Muhammad, Bank Negara Governor Datuk Nur Syamsiah Muhammad Yunus and other experts.
To be reasonable to us, we just started today, so we will take some time, but not too long. I know outside there people are waiting. They want to know what are we doing now. We will act as soon as possible.
Tan Sri Muhyiddin also hinted that the people can expect favourable outcomes by the end of this month.
So whatever it is for us, as we are concerned, and I've spoken to all the members today, that it is important that we continue to further strengthen this government. I think you all have heard that very loud. Strengthen further this government. You know, there's so many ways of strengthening it. We are now, as a government, is willing to work hard. There are all the ministers are here. The deputy ministers also is in. So it is already moving. So I do believe that with this, the public confidence in this government will further be enhanced. And importantly, that they will see within the next 1 or 2 weeks something positive is happening for the country.
Expressing confidence in his cabinet fulfilling the people's aspirations, the Prime Minister also was optimistic of their delivery until the next general election, ruling out calls for a snap election, as according to Tan Sri Muhyiddin, the current government is a government that will work for the people.
And this is the first day we're in office. So, come on, give us a chance lah. There's a long way to go, but of course it's important. We will know what we need to do to ensure that we just don't last for the next 3 years. Hopefully, if we do well and the public believe that this government is a government that can help them, then we will plan properly for the next election. But it's a bit too early to say that.
He also appealed for the people to give his administration a chance, asserting that the cabinet he picked will strive to give its best.
Kerajaan ini adalah kerajaan yang mewakili semua kaum. Sabah, Sarawak, Iban, Kadazan, Dusun, Melayu, Cina, India. Jadi sebab itu saya telah pun menyatakan kepada ahli jemaah menteri, we will work for all Malaysians.
He added, whoever needs help, the government will help. At the media conference, the Prime Minister was asked about policies announced or implemented by the previous governments, which included the economic stimulus package and the goods and services tax GST. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said such policies will be relooked in order to strike a good economic balance.
It is a new government, so the new government will need to relook again to those things, but as long as it is good for the country and of course the people concerned, we will continue to exercise that policy. We will look into everything because we just sit today for the first time. And I think it is only fair that we look into those issues closely, whether there is any necessity to review or whatever it is at the Menteri Kewangan, and all those people involved in that particular area will make proper recommendation. But of course, it will be in line with the broad policy that this government will be adopting for the sake of our fiscal policy, financial policy, and of course to strengthen our economy in general. We will look into all options, GST, SST, because we have to find something which will strike a good balance that will not be too burdensome, but of course important for the government in terms of its revenue collection.
The Prime Minister added that the government will work towards finding solutions to all issues as soon as possible. It was also understood that all cabinet ministers have been instructed to declare their assets within a month. In the meantime, Tan Sri Muhyiddin's maiden cabinet meeting also decided that a special fund to help ease burdens faced by those infected by COVID-19 be launched on Wednesday. The fund is aimed at helping those infected with the virus, especially patients whose work was affected while being quarantined.
Kerajaan bersetuju di peringkat awal ni RM1 juta. Dan kalau kita dapat kumpul dana daripada rakyat jelata, apa saja yang kita kumpul ni akan kita kembalikan kepada mereka-mereka yang berhak.
The Prime Minister added that the government viewed the COVID-19 outbreak seriously and the sincere donation from the public is welcomed. On another note, the Prime Minister said that his cabinet and government are constitutional and thanked his predecessor, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, for stating that the cabinet would last until the next general election. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said he had apologized if the events of the past week had hurt Tun Dr. Mahathir and said that he wanted to meet with the statesman.
Saya bersedia anytime, any place, anywhere to meet Tun for the sake of the country. We have formed this government and I want Tun to endorse this government. That is government for the people. It is legal, it is constitutional. If it is a good thing for the people, I think people are hoping that this government will deliver. And we promise that we will deliver. You see, if you want to have a snap election, I don't want that. The people will maybe be not only cursed, say this is not the right time. So we are here to serve. What do? We continue to serve. So I wish that everybody, not just Tun, to give us all the encouragement that will do what is best for them.
Tun Dr. Mahathir had reportedly said that Tan Sri Muhyiddin's administration would be able to last until the 15th general election and that it had the power of incumbency to attract more support. In another development, International Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali said the government will reorganize the departments and agencies previously placed under the Economic Affairs Ministry, including FELDA and RISDA. He also said the Chief Secretary to the government, Datuk Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali, will be tasked to review the ministry's structure and present his proposal to the cabinet soon.
Cabaran pada hari ini semakin berat. Ada keperluan untuk kita menstrukturkan semua kementerian ini sebab itu diwujudkan Jabatan Perdana Menteri yang memberikan perhatian khusus tentang ekonomi dan mungkin jabatan dan agensi lain akan diteliti oleh Ketua Setiausaha Negara. Tetapi atas cadangan daripada Datuk Seri Mustafa dan saya mendukung cadangan tersebut, mungkin pada ketika ini struktur yang sedia ada dikekalkan untuk sementara waktu memandangkan seluruh kementerian ini sedang berikhtiar berusaha untuk melengkapkan rancangan Malaysia ke-12.
He was speaking to the media at the Prime Minister's Department Complex on Wednesday. The Economic Affairs Ministry has been dissolved and its function taken over by the Prime Minister's Department Ministry in charge of economy. Also present, Education Minister Muhammad Radzi Judin, who was previously the Economic Affairs Deputy Minister. Meanwhile, newly minted Minister in Prime Minister's Department in charge of economy, Datuk Sri Mustafa Mohamad, has set his attention on tackling issues affecting the country's economy. Also, to continue the Economic Affairs Ministry's agenda in completing the 12th Malaysia Plan set to be tabled this year.
Kita amat mengandungkan penubuhan Economic Action Council. Ini prioriti kita dan hari Isnin PM akan fungsikan mesyuarat. Ini menunjukkan betapa seriusnya beliau pandang masalah ini, dan itu prioriti pertama. Yang kedua, prioriti kita ialah untuk menyiapkan kerja-kerja yang Ustaz Azmin sudah mulakan bersama Yang Amat Dr. Aziz dalam menyediakan rancangan Malaysia ke-12, ya, yang mana gagasannya ialah wawasan kemakmuran bersama.
He was met after clocking in at the Prime Minister's department soon after the cabinet meeting on Wednesday. Also present was his deputy, Arthur Joseph Kurup. Datuk Sri Mustafa then chaired a closed-door meeting with the ministry's officials. Malaysia is imposing entry bans on travellers from Italy, Iran and South Korea, effective Friday, following the COVID-19 outbreak in these countries. Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adham Baba said this was decided during the first cabinet meeting of the Perikatan Nasional Government earlier on Wednesday. According to Datuk Sri Dr. Adam, the move was made by the government after taking into account the current status of the COVID-19 virus transmission. The ban also applies to other foreigners visiting these three countries or transiting at any entry point.
Rakyat Malaysia, penduduk tetap dan pemegang pas jangka panjang yang tiba dari Itali, Iran, Republik Korea akan dikenakan perintah pengawasan dan pemerhatian di rumah di bawah Akta Pencegahan dan Pengawalan Penyakit Berjangkit 1988 selama 14 hari.
He said this after a visit to the Higher Education Leadership Academy in Nilai, which has been temporarily converted into a quarantine center for the 66 Malaysian citizens and their non-citizen spouses and children who arrived home from Wuhan, China on February 26. The minister revealed that all of them who were quarantined there were allowed to go home on Wednesday after testing negative for COVID-19.
Sampel diambil semalam, 24 hours siap. Kita dah dapati mereka negatif COVID-19 dan itu merupakan satu keputusan yang sangat mengembirakan kita lah, alhamdulillah. So Datuk Sri, pusat ni akan ditutup ataupun Ya, pusat ni ditutup. Kita akan kemaslah.
The ministry also confirmed 20 new COVID-19 cases as of noon today, bringing the tally to 149. On a positive note, one case, patient 78, has recovered and was allowed to go home on the same day. To date, 26 people have fully recovered and discharged. Meanwhile, the Employees Provident Fund EPF has closed its office at Jalan Raja Laut in Kuala Lumpur from today until March 13th for the disinfection of its office space and surrounding areas. In a statement, the EPF said the office will resume operations on Monday, March 16th. The closure is due to an EPF member who was at the branch on February 27th and later tested positive for COVID-19 on March 3rd. The patient has been admitted to hospital for further treatment. The statement added the staff who may have had contact with a member had also been identified and sent for testing, while the remaining personnel of the branch had been placed in quarantine. The EPF is also working closely with the health authorities on the matter. As for other EPF branches, they will operate as usual. Members, however, are also encouraged to make transactions online through the iAccount application. The EPF also assured that all counters and exposed surfaces at the branches are also cleaned continuously throughout the day, while staff are also required to clean their hands frequently. Visitors are also required to undergo a body temperature check before entering the premises. Elsewhere in Indonesia, a 53-year-old foreign woman has died from the coronavirus, becoming the first recorded death from the virus in the Southeast Asian country. Authorities, however, did not say where the woman was from or in what hospital or city she had died, but said her home country's embassy was aware of her death and would arrange to have her body repatriated. Indonesia has 26 other confirmed coronavirus patients. Panama's health ministry has confirmed the country's first death from the coronavirus, and that in addition, there are 7 new cases of individuals testing positive for the virus in the Central American nation. In a statement, it said the first Panamanian victim is a teacher who previously had complications from diabetes and pneumonia. Bolivia has confirmed its first 2 cases of coronavirus in the cities of Oruro and Santa Cruz. The cases are of 2 women over 60 years of age who arrived in Bolivia from Italy and without symptoms of the disease. In the United Kingdom, British Junior Health Minister Nadine Dorries has tested positive for coronavirus and is self-isolating. It was reported that Dorries had met hundreds of people in Parliament in the past week and attended a reception with Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Lebanon has recorded its first coronavirus death, saying a 56-year-old man had died overnight due to severe complications. The patient had been in quarantine in a Beirut state hospital since March 5th and had developed symptoms after arriving from Egypt in February. Health Minister Hassan Hamad had warned the virus was spreading and asked Lebanese to take precautions without panicking. In another development, beginning April 1st, Plus Malaysia Berhad will offer the Radio Frequency Identification Technology RFID payment facility at all of its 83 closed toll systems, including the LPT2 highway along the East Coast. The move is in line with the government's vision to implement a multi-lane free flow, which marks the completion of a full RFID highway ecosystem. Plus Managing Director Dato' Azman Ismail said in a statement the highway operator anticipates an increase in demand for the RFID, especially among daily highway customers, which is approximately around 1.7 million drivers. He added consumers will enjoy the ease of cashless toll transactions and convenience of instant reloads via online banking and e-wallets. A total of 173 RFID lanes will be operational. However, toll payments using the Touch and Go card and Smart Tag will still be accepted at the toll plazas to facilitate the migration of highway customers to RFID use within this year. After the break, Nightline continues. The defence in Datuk Sri Najib Razak's case involving misappropriation of 42 million ringgit belonging to SRC International Sdn Berhad closed its case Wednesday after calling 19 witnesses. The Kuala Lumpur High Court has set April 21st for both the defence and prosecution to submit their written submissions and 4 days beginning May 12th for the oral submissions. Judge Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali fixed the dates after being informed on the matter by former Prime Minister's counsel Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah. The defence trial, which ran for 33 days since December 3rd last year, ended after MACC Assistant Commissioner on Forensic Accounting Regjit Singh was called to testify. A total of 807 exhibits were tendered during the 91-day trial of the case, which began on April 3rd last year, during which the prosecution called 57 witnesses. Besides Datuk Sri Najib, other key witnesses who testified during the defence trial were former Secretary General of Treasury Tan Sri Muhammad Irwan Seriga Abdullah, former Attorney General Tan Sri Muhammad Apandi Ali, and former MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Zulkifli Ahmad. Datuk Sri Najib is the country's first Prime Minister to be charged in court. He faces 3 counts of criminal breach of trust and 1 charge for power abuse involving 42 million ringgit in SRC funds. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Abdul Hamid Badur has expressed his frustration over the alleged corrupt practices among police personnel, despite various warnings and advice. He also said police will leave it to the MACC to complete its investigations against the 12 Penang officers who were nabbed for alleged graft yesterday before taking the next move. The IGP revealed he had yet to receive the full report on the case, but assured that police would give its full cooperation to the MACC. He further said the police will continue its awareness campaigns to educate their personnel on the impact of corruption, as well as the drug menace.
Saya amat mengalu-alukan tindakan pihak SPRM mengambil tindakan sekiranya SPRM mempunyai maklumat tentang salah laku anak buah saya yang terdapat segelintirnya yang masih lagi berdegil, masih degil, tidak mau berubah.
Earlier, 12 high-ranking police officers from the Pulau Pinang Public Order and Traffic Department have been remanded for 7 days, beginning Wednesday by the Georgetown Magistrates Court. The remand order was issued by the court's Senior Assistant Registrar, Nur Fadrina Zulkhairi, following an application by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, to facilitate investigations over alleged corrupt practices and abuse of power involving transportation companies. The 12 police personnel, aged 31 to 59, arrived at the court complex in unmarked MACC vans and cars at 10:40 a.m. and left the court at noon. The probe is being carried out under the MACC Act. On Tuesday, the Graft Busters Chief Commissioner, Datuk Sri Azam Baki, confirmed the arrest of the 12 suspects with the ranks of Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent and Inspector. They were picked up at their workplaces, including the State Police Contingent Headquarters and District Police Headquarters on the mainland. It was alleged that the officers had accepted bribes between 10,000 ringgit and 25,000 ringgit monthly from transportation companies as inducement for not taking action against their drivers over various offences. Bukit Aman Integrity and Standard Compliance Department, JIPS Director, Datuk Zamri Yahya said they will also conduct investigations into the case from various angles. If any of them had violated any rules, disciplinary action will be taken, and if they are charged in court, they will be suspended from work. Still to come on Nightline, Russia opens path for Putin to retain power until 2036. Details next. We're back with the foreign news. The Russian parliament has approved a sweeping constitutional reform in the third and final reading on Wednesday, and a move that will allow President Vladimir Putin to stay in power for another 12 years after his current term ends in 2024. The Kremlin-controlled lower house, the State Duma, endorsed a set of amendments to the constitution and a provision resetting the term count for Putin after the revised constitution goes into force by a 383-0 vote with 43 abstentions. A nationwide vote on the proposed amendments is set for April 22nd. Ahead of the national vote, it will be reviewed by Russia's Constitutional Court. Kremlin critics, however, condemned the move as a cynical manipulation and called for protests. Putin, a 67-year-old former KGB officer, has ruled Russia for more than 20 years. After serving for 2 consecutive 4-year terms, a limit outlined in the current version of the constitution, Putin shifted to prime minister's seat in 2008 with his close ally Dmitry Medvedev becoming a placeholder president. The length of the presidency was extended to 6 years under Medvedev, and in 2012, Putin returned to the Kremlin as president. In 2018, he was re-elected for another 6 years. Actions from the Super League. We'll be right back. We're back with sports football, the Super League. 4 matches were played on Wednesday night. FELDA United beat Malacca United 3-2. UiTM and Kedah played out a 1-1 draw. Terengganu drew 3-3 with Selangor, while Perak recorded a 2-0 win over Petaling Jaya City FC. In Ipoh, Perak took the lead in the 24th minute thanks to a thumping header from Shahrul Saad following a corner kick. The hosts then doubled the lead 3 minutes after the hour mark when Thierry Chantabin curled in a free kick into the top corner. The visitors pushed on to get back into the game in the remaining period, but the scoreline remained till the full-time whistle. The win lifted Perak to second in the standings with 7 points, 2 points behind JDT at the top after 3 matches. Before we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at what has been installed on the front pages of Malaysia's main newspapers on Thursday, March 12th. The New Straits Times focuses on the surge in COVID-19 cases in the country as Malaysia records the first sporadic case. While the nation's best-selling Malay newspaper, Harian Metro, speculates on the political dispute in Kedah over the Menteri Besar seat. Berita Harian, meanwhile, highlights the outcome of the first cabinet meeting chaired by Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. And finishing with a report on hotel room cancellations over COVID-19 causes over 67 million ringgit loss in just 46 days, taking the front page of the Malaysian Reserve. Do get your copies today. And as we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as a paraglider's adventure in Alabama ended abruptly when he became stuck in a tree, forcing a helicopter team to be flown out to rescue the stranded man. With that, I'm Nakia Bashiruddin. Thank you for watching and stay safe.